Well, hey fans, welcome back to another episode of Let's Talk Spoilers, and today we're talking spoilers for Blue Beetle. So first off, we'd like to thank our sponsor for this video, Flip Frog Books. Flip Frog Books is a Black-owned book publisher based in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. They've released children's books such as The Bacon Tree, I Don't Want a Pet, and Ned's Fanciful Webs. If you wish to purchase a book, the link is in the description below. Jump into a good story with Flip Frog Books. Now, I've been trying to plan this Let's Talk Spoilers for like 3 months now. I saw this movie back in August. It is now November. And I was October, end October, beginning of November, whatever. Whenever I decided to put this out, I frankly just didn't care that much. I mean, scheduling and everything, that's also an issue. But I mean, this is just kind of like a plain so-so movie. And of course, I got my co-host Daniel here with me to talk about it. Tell the people how you feel, Daniel.
How's everybody doing? Daniel Henry here. Glad to be here as always. Feeling good. It's a nice fall Sunday, and I got more work to do after this, but I'm happy to be here.
So we're not going to take up too much of your time. Like I said, the movie came out back in August, and it pretty much bombed at the box office. Warner Brothers did send me a 4K copy of the film, so thank you to Warner Brothers for that. And I watched it again, and it's still just fine. It's still just fine. I believe in my review, I gave it a 6.2 out of 10. This movie was originally made for HBO Max. It was just supposed to be like a streaming DCEU movie. They were going to do Blue Beetle, Batgirl, Wonder Twins. And then when all the shifts started happening, when David Zaslav got in charge, Wonder Twins got canceled. Batgirl, which is pretty much done filming, they wrote it off as a tax write-off, so nobody will ever see that film, at least not until, I don't know, maybe 30 years down the road. And Blue Beetle, they thought was good enough to bump up to a theatrical release, which I was excited about. I like Jaime Reyes. I like Blue Beetle. I remember seeing him in Batman the Brave and the Bold. I think he was done excellent in Young Justice. And I like Xolo Maridueña from Cobra Kai. So it all seemed like a great series of events for me. So I was trying to see, what the movie's gonna be like. And I think the movie just is kind of like a influx of just so many bad decisions, personally. For one, like you can't, it's not necessarily in the DCEU or the upcoming DCU with James Gunn. It's kind of like his own thing. And I think that hurts it in the long run. But I guess Daniel, just give us some of your thoughts on the movie, some of your quick thoughts of it.
Yeah, I mean, at the time when I did see it, it was entertaining, but it wasn't groundbreaking. I'd say the best parts of the movie, if you don't mind me saying, unless you have that planned a little later, but the best parts of the movie to me were his family interaction. I think those were the most entertaining parts of the movie, him interacting with his family members. Big fan of oh my God, had his own TV show with his family. Comedian.
I know you're talking about Ray, not Ray. Oh, what's his name?
It's not Garcia, it's
Blue Beetle cast. George Lopez.
There it is. Thank you, George Lopez. Big fan of George Lopez. So I thought those were the best parts of the movie. Besides that, it just seemed very, I don't know. The plot didn't make, the plot kind of made sense, but it also seemed a little over the top. Like, I didn't understand what her overall goal was. It seemed like she was doing just fine. She didn't need to, she had like the armored suit already. I guess she needed the Beetle to improve the assimilation, but it seemed to be working just fine.
Yeah, the OMAC.
Yeah, the OMAC. So it seemed to be working just fine. But overall, yeah, I think a 6.2 to 6.5. I think, yeah, that's a good 6 to 6.5 is a good rating for it overall, because like I said, it was entertaining, but not cinema shifting, not on par with some other comic book superhero movies.
Yeah, I would agree. Like if this movie came out like back when we were in high school, I think it'd be a totally different story. This would be like, oh, did you see Blue Beetle? This is amazing. It's just like Iron Man. And yeah, I think we've kind of moved beyond that as a superhero movie culture. We kind of want, better stories. We're not just happy to see just great graphics. And the graphics in this movie aren't really that great. The Blue Beetle suit looks great. Like his suit phenomenal job. It looks good. Everything else, I think, just looks terrible.
Yeah.
But let's get. You had mentioned like Susan Sarandon and her goal. She's the villain. She's the Victoria Cord. On paper, like when you hear her backstory, she's a great villain. Like she's the one who helped her dad start the company and do all this great stuff. And once like they came of age to take over, he just gave the company to her brother, and she's like, that don't make any sense. So like all that stuff, like why she's kind of upset, and the fact that he gets the scarab, kind of wastes all the company's money and then disappears. I was like,
Yeah.
this is a great villain on paper. Her backstory makes sense why she's upset. She's been looked over because she's a female, and I just think they took like some weird turns with her just to try to make her seem more evil, which I don't
Yeah.
think they had to do. It could have just been the fact that she is like, what do you call him? Like, not a warmonger, but like somebody who's like what Tony Stark was. Like,
A
I
war
think
dog.
this company should be manufacturing weapons. That's what we do. Like, I think a smarter way to do it would have been to make her seem like a little more evil. Like she was selling the OMAC to the US government. That was
Yeah.
her. That's fine. If they wanted to make her like more evil, she can be like, not only am I selling to the US government, I'm selling it to Russia, I'm selling to Israel, I'm selling it to
Right.
Cuba. If she was selling to like everybody, then it's like, okay, that's a little shisty. But no, she just had like a government defense contract.
The contract,
And
right?
yeah, and it was like, and then at the end, like when she was like, well, we have to remove the scarab from Jaime and it'll kill him. And she's like, that's cops. I'm like, it's like they threw in that stuff just to make her more bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seeing
When throughout the movie, I was like, nah, she's just like a regular CEO type person. And like I said, the writing, it wasn't that great for her. And Carapax, like her lieutenant, his backstory also seemed worse. I feel like we should have got that information about him being like a child soldier at the beginning. Or
right
at
at
least,
the end,
yeah, they just throw it all in at the end when like
right?
the Beatles like I access his memories and he's had a hard life. I'm like, we should have gotten some of that information from him like throughout the movie for us to kind of relate to him more. Like we had that whole like Black Panther, for instance. This movie was supposed to be like Black Panther for Hispanics. That's what it was supposed to
Really?
be. I
Because
mean,
it
he's
is
like,
not that.
I mean, how many? It is not. How many other Hispanic superheroes do we got? This was supposed to be that for them, and like
Miles
Killmonger.
Morales.
Well, he's half black. He's half ours, so and he's Dominican. Dominicans, they're different.
Nice. Who? Jaime? He's Dominican.
No, Spider-Man.
Oh, he's Puerto Rican.
Oh, he is Puerto Rican. Oh, he made that joke. He said, "I think he's Dominican." My bad.
Right.
But still, that's even more like us. But like
Yeah.
Carapax, comparing it to Black Panther, we found out about Killmonger's like
Killmonger.
dad and his past throughout the movie, and this they just kind of dumped it on us
Even
at the
throughout the
end.
movie, it was in the opening.
Yeah, and this they just kind of dumped it on us at the end. It's like, well, I don't care at this point, and I don't care. And even then, he like just kind of like kills himself. It's like, why? Why are you killing yourself? Why are you killing
Yeah.
her too? Why not like have her stand trial or get sent to jail or just have the
Right.
company taken away from her? It's just like
Right.
little stuff like that. I was like, he could have been a better villain. And I know his suit is pretty much the exact same as Blue Beetle's, but I just think it could have been better in that aspect on the villain front.
Agreed.
And I like Susan Sarandon. I think she plays the CEO well. It's just the writing. It was almost like that she was just there to cash a check. That's what it
Right.
felt like. As she was like one of the, I think she was like the only white person in the movie. Now I think about it, I don't.
What about the chick who played her daughter, played her niece?
No, she's half. She was the actress is I think Hispanic, but that's another thing that's weird to me. So, she's her dad was
Victor Cord.
Ted Cord,
Yeah, Ted
Ted
Cord.
Cord. So and her mom was Brazilian, they said, and she died when she was young. So I'm like, okay, so she's half white, half Brazilian. That makes sense. Like toward the end of the movie, she said something to her aunt in Spanish. And I was like, that doesn't make any sense. Brazilians speak
Speak
Portuguese.
Portuguese.
Why
Yeah.
is she all of a sudden speaking Spanish? If they wanted to do that, they should just made her half like his like
I don't know.
Peruvian or
Dominican then,
something.
whatever. It doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
but making her I mean, I don't know how many like Spanish speakers there are in Brazil, but that just sounded weird to me. It was like they were trying to make her fit in with the rest of the Hispanic
Right.
cast, but for some reason she's half Brazilian.
Maybe they wanted to make her more attractive. Everybody knows Brazilians are supposed to be sexy, you know. And so
I
maybe that's
guess.
I don't know, but yeah, they speak Portuguese.
Yeah, it was like a weird decision to do that. And like a lot of her like the stuff when her aunt was talking to her, I think she made some good points. She's like, your dad left this company and he left you. He didn't even tell you where he went. We know nothing. The company was failing. It's like she's making some solid points here. She's making some good points. Like
she's spitting right now.
Yeah, and you're all over her for having a defense contract. Like it's not like she came and was like, you can't do anything with this company, you're fired. She lets you do whatever you want. It was like, if you want to go help people, she wasn't stopping you.
Right.
Just she's doing this for this part of the company. I mean, like Wayne Enterprises still had defense contracts and humanitarian. They did everything. So yeah. And I did like the aspect, the fact that Blue Beetle's like a low rent Batman. Like when they finally get to see his, I don't know, is it like a beetle layer, beetle cave, whatever.
Oh yeah.
I actually liked that aspect of it, and I feel like the movie should have been, and it doesn't really work with the Blue Beetle lore because I know you have to get the scarab and have that suit, but I think I almost would have wanted them to like change it up completely and just have it was like how in Batman Beyond Terry becomes a new Batman when he accidentally finds the Batcave. I think it would have been cool if there was like a kid who finds Ted Cord and gets all that interesting technology and becomes like, I want to save this city, I want to be a superhero. That just, to me, it seemed a little cooler than I have this Iron Man alien suit and I'm gonna go fight crime. Not to say I don't like that, but
even building on top of that, like how this scarab, however it's spoken, she just gives it to him.
Yeah,
I'm like I don't know.
Take it in this box. Like it could have killed him.
Right.
And that is when the scarab first like comes on, I really liked how that looked. They definitely had like some Venom vibes. I don't like, because I'm pretty sure this doesn't happen in the comics or the cartoons. It burned off his clothes, so he's like naked
doesn't
afterwards.
Like go over it. I thought it just kind of absorbed his clothes into it, went over his clothes. I mean, I guess it's on his skin, and if it's clothes, I mean, I guess it can go either way since it's on his skin technically, unless it can somehow pull his clothes into it, which I don't know if it can or not. I don't know enough about Blue Beetle lore myself, but I don't know. I assume that was kind of more. It would be like symbiote style. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think that was just kind of done for the shock factor. Because how productive of a hero are you if you're always losing your clothes whenever you put on your suit? And it could have been like a training thing. Like if later, like Khaji-Da was like, by the way, you don't have to burn your clothes off. You can just, if you like by the end just learn to use it better.
Right.
But yeah, I thought that was just done for shock factor. And speaking of Khaji-Da, I didn't really care for the voice. It sounded so robotic. I like the voice from Young Justice, like the almost like psychopath, like we could kill all these guys right now, Jaime. Just tell me what to do. And I like that better. I thought they had like a better like connection. This one it just seemed more like he has a computer talking to him, like a robot. And I was like, that's boring. Like, I don't know if they ran out of money or what. You have such a great actor with Xolo, and you just give him this lame. If it like, and it would also be like if it started out that way, he's like, "Can you sound any better than this?" And like we get like a prominent Hispanic actor that's just like, "Does this sound better or whatever?" And he's
Jennifer
like,
Lopez.
"I like that." That Jennifer Lopez, like, so yeah, that would have been great. He's like, "I like this,"
like that.
But yeah, it was just certain aspects. Honestly, I think the best thing they could have done for this movie, with as cheap as it costs to make it, and apparently, so Xolo's coming back for the DC. So in the DCU, Xolo's coming back as Blue Beetle, but this movie's not canon. So everything that happened in this movie really doesn't matter.
Okay, then.
So at that point, I was like, well, why didn't you just save this movie? Like he's working on Superman Legacy. That's supposed to be his first theatrical attempt. Put that out. If it's good, then you can drop Blue Beetle like right after that. Put a little bit of money into marketing, and people be like, "Oh, this is connected to that movie." They would have made a lot more money. Like I think this movie cost like $100 million to make or whatever, and I think in theaters only made like 200 million, so it really didn't do well. But even if it came out after Superman, and they're like, "All right, this movie made $500 million," that's a super success. That's a super success. And I don't think James Gunn really is like, I don't want anything to do with this. It's like, bro, take a hit for the team. Take a hit for the team. I know you didn't have anything to really do with this movie, but if you're going to incorporate the character in the universe anyway, this is less work for you. This is just tack that movie in there.
Right.
So, And then they could have probably shot a cameo for like his version of Superman or whatever superheroes he's adding. Those actors, they could have shot small cameos for them for like a post-credit scene or something like that.
I think
And
I think the biggest problem with like even with the DCEU and what it seems like it might be the same problem with DCU, they're making these uh like Justice Leagues and things like that, before giving these characters like their own introduction. Because didn't didn't Justice League what came out first? Wonder Woman or Justice League?
so with Zack Snyder, it was Man of Steel, then it was Batman v Superman,
And
then it was Wonder Woman, and then Suicide Squad, and then Justice League.
right.
And then his plan after
And then
Justice
Aquaman.
League, it was going to be Aquaman, Flash, and like then whoever didn't have their own movie, they were going to get their own movies plus like a Man of Steel too. So the thing is, they got scared of his vision, and then everybody just started putting their hands in the pie, and then eventually, he left, and since then it's just been a real mess. And most people that I've seen online would agree. They said even if you didn't like Zack Snyder's direction, all of like his movies, they're of the entire DCEU, the movies he made the most money. So even if you're like, we don't know if we like this direction, they should have just been like, finish out your first saga or whatever, and then we're gonna change direction after that. Instead of like in the middle of it, do this, do that, do this, do that. Try to be more like Marvel, and it didn't work. And I'm me personally, I like those movies. I liked the darker tone. If I wanted something fun, I can go watch a Marvel movie. I like what he was doing, and even after seeing his cut of Justice League and what Darkseid looked like, I'm still upset that we'll never get that. We're never gonna get Ben Affleck's Batman movie, and now we're stuck with stuff like Blue Beetle, which is just fine. It's just fine. Great cast, but just the movie is just so saddening. And earlier I had mentioned you saw the Flash. Yeah, we saw the Flash together. So the Flash, the CGI in that movie,
video game that was the Flash.
Yeah, CGI in that movie was just terrible. It didn't make sense with how much money they put into it.
And the Speed Force, especially, it was just like, yo.
I saw people online saying they're like, man, Blue Beetle has better CGI than the Flash. I saw Blue Beetle in theater. The CGI was just as bad. Like when you look at like the city in the background, it looks like Grand Theft Auto. It's like they just got. I was like, you could like you see the cars like, man, you can definitely tell every building was like shiny and just fake looking, and I was like, you couldn't just record like a backdrop of Miami. Like why you have to make this fake like futuristic looking city? It just looked. I didn't understand. Save some money and use more real locations. You can definitely tell that they didn't do that. And also, it's supposed to be in like Florida, right? That's what they were trying to mimic.
My assumption, yeah. Well, either Florida or it's either Florida or someplace in California. Those would be the only two options.
Yeah, because
with how warm it looked and with the trees.
In the comics he was from like New Mexico or Arizona. But if they're supposed to be mimicking Florida, I was like, that don't really make sense. They should have made Jaime Cuban then, because why are there so many Mexicans in Florida? I mean, I guess across the Gulf of Mexico, I guess you can. It just that part seemed weird to me. And people talk about that whole dream sequence where like he saw his dad in the afterlife. They're like, I'm like, guys, come on. You cannot like the Flash, but don't sit here and lie and talk about this CGI is like great. This is definitely streaming level CGI. But there are like some couple like I said, this movie is not canon, so it doesn't really matter. But there were some cool Easter eggs in there. Like the original Blue Beetle, they had him in the newspaper clippings, the one before Ted Cord. They had in the very beginning. Which it was weird to me. The movie opened with them like finding the beetle in like this giant stone sphere in Antarctica.
Right.
And then after that, they show like the beginning of how the beetle got to Earth. It should have opened with how the beetle got to Earth and then cut to the whole them finding where Ted hid it later. Because in that one scene, they showed like all the different colors of beetles flying through space. So you got to see like the red, the green,
the black one.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, that's a cool like Easter egg. You're not really saying anything. You're just showing there are multiple colors. So that leads to green beetle and black beetle coming later. And
Well, not anymore.
Well, yeah, not anymore. Well, maybe in the new whatever James Gunn's doing, maybe we'll see them. But like I said, I really like how he was done in Young Justice. I like the reach. I like seeing Black Beetle, still one of my hands down one of my favorite villains ever introduced. That was great. And Kevin Graveau, the voice, even if they got somebody else to play that character, they should get Kevin Graveau to voice him, and that would be a great villain for Blue Beetle down the line. And I like Green Beetle because
was he a Martian?
Yeah, he was a Martian.
Right. His powers still came through the suit too.
So he had Blue Beetle powers, plus he could transform and do all that stuff. But he was actually, his Beetle wasn't, I think Jaime's Beetle in the comics, when it arrived to Earth, it was like experimented on by like the ancient Egyptians. So it had like some magical qualities as well. And its data or whatever got corrupted because it's supposed to attach to a host, and that host is supposed to basically like take over the planet and be under the Reach's control. So so Green Beetle, he was under the Reach's control, but Jaime had, what is it, anonymity, whatever. I don't know if I said that word right.
Anonymity?
Yeah, I guess that's the correct word. But so he could kind of like talk to the Beetle and be like,
oh, autonomy.
Is that it?
Autonomy. Like he had control?
Kinda. Like the scarab
if he wasn't under their control, then he had autonomy. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like two people in there versus like them actually combining into one thing. So, and also the scarab like doesn't actually like, yeah, this is my directive, but I don't want to follow that anymore. So it's kind of like it glitched or whatever. So, but yeah, I mean, solid movie. I don't think it's anything like, if somebody were to ask me, like, I use Movie Pass, and I shout out Movie Pass. Thank you for sending me that free card. I use that to go see it. I went and saw it in like a nice theater, and I sat down. It was me, like 4 other Hispanic families. The theater was mostly empty. And the one family there was on their phone the whole time. It was pissing me off. But it was like a fine theatrical experience. I was like, if I had missed this, if I wasn't trying to figure out like keep up with the DCU or whatever, I probably wouldn't have cared to see this. Like I said, this is definitely not Hispanic Black Panther.
Yeah.
He didn't even got nothing on Namor.
Right there. Facts.
But, and like I said, I really like the casting. George Lopez is great. I like Uncle Rudy. He was fun. Everybody else was okay. Xolo was great, but like everybody else was just okay.
Right.
And it's just sad. It's sad that it flopped at the box office, but that's what happens when you pretty much announce that you're rebooting everything, and people are like, well, why should I go see this? Also, the fact that movies drop on like streaming 30 days later now, so you're like, I might as well wait the month.
Right. That's like, yeah. Wait the month, save me the $25 for taking the family, like the $50 for taking the family.
But yeah, anything else you want to add? Anything else we missed? Anything? I guess we didn't talk. I like Ted Kord's gear, like his Beetle ship, which looked a lot like that owl ship from Watchmen. I like that. But did you notice like he had like a power glove, but that was a Nintendo power glove.
Oh yeah, I noticed that.
Well, I said that's a Nintendo power glove. What in the world?
I know I've seen it somewhere before.
Yeah.
Also, like the grandma being like a former revolutionary. Like,
yeah.
I was like, that's so random, but okay.
It came out of nowhere, and I was like, why they even put that scene in there? Like, what is it? If they had made her seem like they had like put like hints for it throughout the movie, sure,
yeah,
but it just came out of nowhere.
Like she's always talking about the man or something like that, or always like talking about the establishment throughout the movie. It would have made more sense. But just for her to 1 minute be like, sewing the entire movie or doing crocheting, and then at the last minute, all of a sudden now she's carrying a Gatling gun, and I'm like, all right. Okay. Like
I said, like that whole end, like, and back to Susan Sarandon and Victoria Cord. That in any other circumstance, she would be the good guy. She was basically creating an army of Blue Beetles. So say this was in the DCEU proper, whatever. Darkseid is going to attack Earth. What's good to help the Justice League? One Blue Beetle or an army of Blue Beetles?
Right.
Like that. It's, even if you want to get her like, you shouldn't be controllers anymore, that's still a good idea to have like as many people
as possible. Yeah.
I was just baffled by it. And And like you mentioned before, like, did she even really need to remove the scarab from her? Like, once they download all that information, her suit
Yeah,
was
once you have the
perfect.
data. Yeah,
Yeah,
once you get the data, what's anything else for it?
yeah, the suit is, she should be like, all right, you're all right, go. I got what I needed. I can make my company a lot of money and save the world. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
I just, is baffling me to some of the creative decisions made in a fine movie. And if the universe weren't rebooting, this probably would have made at least 300, $400 million. But
Mm.
they, yeah, it's just disappointing overall. I feel bad for Xolo. He's great in Cobra Kai. This was
When do
his
I see it?
moment. I mean, with all those strikes, who knows? 2025.
I thought they agreed to a deal.
The writers agreed to a deal. The actors have not finished the deal yet. They said that might end today. They might pretty much finish that up, and then, but even then, if they ink it now, most stuff is still getting pushed to 2025.
Right.
Like, so, but yeah, like I said, I feel bad for Xolo. This is supposed to be his theatrical debut, and now, I mean, it's good he's coming back, but then again, if James Gunn's Superman movie doesn't hit, bam, that's over too. Because there's word from the insides of Warner Brothers that say Universal might buy them, and if they buy Warner Brothers, they're going to reboot everything anyway. So,
Who did James Gunn get to play Superman?
David Cornsweet.
David. That's a horrible name, but let me see what he looks like.
He's a British guy. He was in that prequel to X, about the
X.
old lady, the horror movie X, and the prequel was I can't remember the name. I
David
reviewed it.
Cornswalk.
But yeah,
Okay.
he looks like a smaller version of Henry Cavill, and it's
Yeah,
great
you're right. He
casting.
does.
So
He's
I
got
mean,
mad dimples.
I think he'll be a fine Superman. I hope the movie's good. I'm hoping the movie's good. Especially took my boy Henry out. I hope they do well.
You want to know how they make it good? It's all about picking who he fights first. If he's not fighting Metallo first, there's no point. They can't start out with Dark. They can't start with Darkseid. They can't start with Doomsday. They can't start with Apocalypse. They got to start simple. Introduce Lex Luthor through, like, Metallo. That's a villain that, have him made out of some kind of material that's supposed to be extremely durable. But then, of course, he's powered by kryptonite, so that way he can actually do damage to Superman to some degree. So we can actually see a fight.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they need to do. I don't want to waste time. I don't want to spend the whole movie watching him just do Superman stuff, running faster than a speeding train and stronger than a locomotive. I don't want to watch that. I don't want to see that. As that's a waste of time.
Well,
Let me see him. I want to see him fight somebody.
we'll see. It's supposed to be already like a world. Like I said, Sholo's coming back as Blue Beetle. It's supposed to be superheroes already in this world. The movie's supposed to like drop us in the middle of it, and it's supposed to be like Superman. Not that he doesn't think the heroes are doing a good job, but he's like, we could be nicer to the civilians. Like they're just about defeating the enemy and saving people. But he's like, yeah, but buildings are getting destroyed. We can go and talk to them and do stuff.
He's
So
the
we'll
one who doesn't
see.
want to destroy it.
Huh?
He's the one who doesn't want to destroy it.
Well, I don't know. Like I said, we'll see how he puts this
I
universe
don't know. I
together.
can't think of any other DC hero who has a city block destruction count like Superman. Batman doesn't. Flash
uh,
doesn't. Green Arrow doesn't. Maybe Wonder Woman. I've actually never seen Wonder Woman actually stop like a robbery. She's only ever fought
he
mystical
didn't.
stuff.
Zack Snyder's Justice League. She stopped that robbery or
All
whatever that
right.
was.
And
But
so he's the one who does most of the destroying. Now if he just said you're the one who does all the destroying. Green Lantern's in space the entire time, and I've never seen it. I don't even know if Cyborg has his own city. Is it Star City? Star Labs, because that's who made him. But
I
I don't
think Star Labs is. I think he's based in Metropolis. It depends on which canon you follow.
know.
It depends on where they have Star Labs located. It's either Metropolis or Gotham or Star City, or there's so many different things. But
Wherever Wayne Tech isn't, otherwise they wouldn't get any business.
true, true.
Mm.
But yeah, anything else you want to add? Anything else you want to throw in there? I think that's pretty much it. Like it's a solid movie, but forgettable. Doesn't really feel like it's part of the DCEU or the DCU. It's just kind of
Agreed.
like,
Just there.
yeah, it's like try to put something out. But yeah, those are our thoughts. Remember, you can read the full review for Blue Beetle on the website, flipfrogllc.com/flixfrog. Remember, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Reddit. And please, pretty please, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, the Facebook page, anything and everything Flipfrog, Flipfrog Books. Make sure that you subscribe. Daniel, tell the people where they can find you.
Pretty much only on Instagram, Kid Chocolate. That's K-I, yep, Kid Chocolate. That's the tag on IG. And yeah, that's pretty much where the only place you can find me. I'm not really on Twitter or X like that. But I've been thinking about getting involved.
Bro, I'll tell you right now, Twitter, X, whatever, bro, it's a shit show right now with that whole
Really?
Israel Hamas thing, bro.
Oh, I don't want to think about what people are saying on there.
You read the most uninformed stuff on there from both sides.
Jesus.
I'm like, do you people even read? It's like you
Israelis drink blood and Hamas is trying to stop them, stuff like that.
Bro, I be reading that stuff. I'd be like, I just get my popcorn out. I'm like, this is just interesting to see how stupid the world is.
I've just been wondering what we're gonna call Black Twitter now. Is it Black X or is it Blacks, like with BLAX, or Malcolm X? That's what it should be.
Malcolm X. We'll see. My next Let's Talk Spoilers is gonna be, I think it's gonna be the Adam Eve special / Invincible season 2 part 1. Go ahead and put that together for you guys, and until next time, I'll be seeing you.